Welcome to Trailer Park. My name is AC.
And my name is Nick, and welcome to the first annual Trailer Park Awards. Even he's excited.
If you haven't seen our last video, which we will link right up here, we went through some of the absolute worst trailers of 2021. But this week, we are ascending from the garbage fire in order to rank the absolute best, most crispiest, hottest, slickest, superlative, transcendent trailers.
And all around best trailers to grace our pale faces as we sit atop the mountains of Cheeto dust in the second year of the pandemic. In 2021, we saw studios try their hardest to get us to go outside and brave the elements, the virus, and the hordes of people who still didn't know how to use a mask. Alternatively, 2021 was the year that if you hadn't bought in to at least a couple of the available streaming services, you were gonna miss out on some of the biggest hits.
Big movie musicals were finally back this year with West Side Story, In the Heights, and Encanto all belting their way onto our screens. And Denis Villeneuve proved that there's always room for a plot-heavy space opera in our hearts. Marvel had a big year with Shang-Chi, The Eternals, Spider-Man, and Black Widow all being released in 2021. You'll notice that none of these money makers were actually released on Disney+, because Disney wanted to use that chunk of change from releasing on other streaming platforms to help fund homophobic laws getting passed.
A decent Ghostbusters sequel came out for the first time ever. Space Jam, The Matrix, and Mortal Kombat came out for some reason, proving that we are firmly in the 90s nostalgia decade. So get ready for that vibe shift. We also saw films from Guillermo del Toro, Edgar Wright, Ridley Scott, Wes Anderson, Adam McKay, Joel Cohen, and the list goes on.
But now let's focus on what we're here for. The
Plot.
trailer. No one is here for the plot.
We love it when we watch a trailer, sometimes on purpose, usually not, and suddenly we feel like we're not the same anymore.
These are the trailers that you send to your friends. The one that you willingly spend a whole calorie on to upvote on Reddit. The ones where you decease yourself just to descend into the depths of hell to debate with anyone in the YouTube comment section who isn't as absolutely hyped as you.
Speaking of which, one of the perks of being a burgeoning new YouTube channel is that our comment section and like button are 100% Satan-free. So please feel free to like, subscribe, and give us a comment and let us know what trailers you'd like us to review next.
Venturing forth into our completely subjective and totally arbitrary list, we have a number of honorable mentions that while they didn't make the top 5, they rocked our socks off enough that we had to share them, had to shout out their names from the precipice of our modest yet ever-growing viewer count peak.
Listen to me, I need the pictures, Gene. Bring the story home.
The cover-up is going to be as much of a story as the story itself.
This trailer opens really cleverly with some of the strongest star power right up front to get you at least intrigued because Bill Nye doesn't sound like his iconic self. And wait a minute, is that Johnny Depp? I won't lie, it took me a second when I first saw this. And immediately we're presented with the problem on the other side of the world and the challenge toward resolving the conflict. Exposition dumping in trailers can be really ham-fisted, but when it's done well, like this, with 2 characters voicing the issues over stunning cinematography, it is done really, really well. The internal narrative is really strong without overexposing anything, and we get a title drop, plus really interesting graphic translation text. We get a dramatic but not cliche score with the endless fun a sound designer gets to have with camera noises. With a story that has the potential to come across as very white saviory, the trailer does a fantastic job at ensuring that the audience sees that the power of change and revolt is in the hands of the actual citizens of Minamata, and that Depp's character is there as a requested co-conspirator to amplify their cause globally. To be able to do all of that in a trailer is commendable. 5 out of 5 film negatives.
I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above you, you never need to die.
In our last video, I talked a little bit about the horror trailer trope, where you take an old pop song, or sometimes a children's song, make a minor key cover of it, and then play it over the footage of your horror film, while its lyrics loosely, ironically, but usually literally and out of context, apply to the themes of your film. In case you were concerned by this image, this is not Midsommar, but with lambs. But it does look like it'll pack just the right amount of tension, insanity, and humor grafted onto an emotional tilt-a-whirl that'll make me repeat my mantra, Daddy A24, please punish me more. There's always a little bit of worry with trailers like this that, even with the relatively few plot points given, that it'll still spoil the whole movie. But judging by the last 20 seconds of this trailer, it seems like there is a whole lot more depth and psychological mania waiting for you outside this trailer. This is director Valdemar Johansson's directorial debut, funded as an international co-production between Iceland, Sweden, and Poland. Really neat to see a niche European film like this get so much international attention. Definitely go check this one out. 5 out of 5, screaming sheep.
I need something to die for, write poems and cry for, and I won't be ashamed.
Cyrano de Bergerac is an old story and loosely based on a real-life person who was one of the world's first science fiction authors and one of the first, if not the first, people on record proposing to go to the moon using rocket power. But this isn't about his literary accomplishments. This is the film adaptation of the musical adaptation of the play that is loosely based on his personal life. Spicy historical literature take? Edmund Rostand did him so dirty. This trailer. I have a degree in musical theater specifically, and let me tell you, this looks so freaking good. Musicals and stage plays in general rely heavily on the use of tableau to communicate relationship and conflict and metaphor. And so it makes total sense that the king of historical adaptations that rely heavily on the use of tableau would be tapped to direct this. The sweeping score, the presentation of the story, the cast, the surprise, it's a musical. All of this has me so excited. There's nothing wrong, really, with Sierra Boggess is a Loser and the adorable, infinitely rewatchable Set It Up. But this is the adaptation that Cyrano truly deserves. This is the scale it needs to be seen on. 5 out of 5 love letters.
Open up your eyes, then you realize
We're living in a civil war.
Wow, this trailer took a turn for me. Initially, I was put off by Judi Dench's narration, as it felt like we were being thrown back to an early-aughts rom-com. But it does not take long until that bass line slaps you into the momentum of what genuinely feels like a new classic. The absolute audacity that Kenneth Branagh can direct a Poirot adaptation starring himself and a biopic / love letter to Ireland and what life was like during the Troubles. Both of them chock-a-block with so many stars that you swear he offered them an opportunity to share their political opinions. The sweep of everlasting love crescendos into a montage of social upheaval juxtaposed by our young buddy just trying to enjoy life as a kid. It's obvious, but needs to be said, this film obviously wasn't made with 2022 conflicts in mind, but its themes are more relevant now than ever. Add on to that the mounting tensions between England and Ireland post-Brexit, and you have a film that sells itself as both timely and a modern classic. 5 out of 5, Fists of Resistance. Now let's get to the main event, the top trailers of 2021.
To be completely transparent, everything on this list was a 5 out of 5, and it was just a matter of artistic subjectivity after that.
But if you're wondering how to make a good trailer, no. A great trailer. Here's your inspiration.
We need global attention. We need you.
Does she know? The world will never accept someone like me and a tall, beautiful woman.
If they can't understand you, then they're not listening. You know who you are, don't you?
We're still 24 hours away from the national title game.
Wolves quarterback LaMarcus James should be the best quarterback to come into the NFL since Patrick Mahomes.
And you know who agrees with me on that? Miami. They're poised to take him #1 overall for about $35 million guaranteed. But we are not talking enough about Wolves coach James Lazor.
One of the best coaches we've seen, but he has never won the big game.
We're live.
I am joined by LaMarcus James, who won this year's Heisman Trophy.
A revolutionary banging on my adversary.
This is the home of my best friend and teammate, Emmett Sunday. Tomorrow he'll play in a game that'll gross over $500 million. But Emmett won't see a dime. And just like the other 12,000 draft-eligible players that don't make the NFL every year, his football days will be over. Zero compensation, zero medical insurance for all the injuries he sustained. My coach, James Lazor, receives an annual salary of $5 million. The commissioners of the top 5 power conferences receive an average salary of $4 million each year. The president of the NCAA received a salary of $3.9 million last year. So I'm personally asking all players in Monday's national title game to join me in this boycott to demand that the NCAA will recognize players as paid employees and not student athletes.
Jesus.
Coach, I think it's best if the NCAA took the reins here.
LaMarcus is a good person.
We squander a $600 million payday for tomorrow alone.
Everybody around us got private jets and private chefs. You got insurance? What you gonna fix your broken body with, huh?
He makes a compelling argument, and I know I stand behind him.
The reality is he's got so much to lose.
Do not let LaMarcus rob you of your legacy.
My football team will play for me.
You two cannot unionize college sports, and that's a fact.
4 players just tweeted we're in with the hashtag fix the system.
It ain't just 2 of us no more, and that's a fact.
Who really run this? Like, who really run that man that say he won?
We gotta stick together on this, fellas. If he sits, they're gonna Kaepernick him like you.
LaMarcus leaked my Nike contract.
These boycotts have gained a lot of momentum.
What happens to all of the other sports that are not men's football and basketball when they start paying you?
Everybody doing it. Everybody doing it.
LaMarcus is standing toe-to-toe with the behemoth, and we haven't even begun to fight.
Glory is at hand.
God is with us. He says there is nothing to lose.
Glory is yours.
I am here, and there is nothing to fear.
Glory is ours.
It starts right now. It starts right here.
Take it.
I first saw Remember the Titans when I was 7 years old. It's probably one of the most well-known Hollywood underdog sports films, and cemented a lot of those same underdog sports film tropes that continue to this day, which, considering it came out a full 3 years after the original Air Bud, is really saying something. America loves an underdog story. America loves sports stories. America loves sports underdog stories so much, and a number of them, which were middling to average, came out in 2021. But National Champions is not a sports movie. Few trailers make me gasp with delight and surprise, but I knew National Champions had to be in our top 5 when I literally gasped with delight and surprise at the trope upset when the music kicks in. This is quality storytelling, start to finish. Only the 4 trailers following this one had a stronger internal narrative. We have this setup of the sports movie tropes done with only Foley, no underscoring, and then bam, baby. This is a movie about boycotting and collective organizing on behalf of others. Seriously, we talk about why this story now? But look at this cast. J.K. Simmons, Uzo Aduba, Christian Chenoweth, Stephen James, King Batch. What? Back to the actual trailer. I'm sorry, this song choice is perfection. The sound design is perfection all the way through, really. The scenes chosen set up everything perfectly without giving anything away. The inclusion of NFL athletes in the trailer is fantastic for providing a sense of scale and gravity if you're in a part of the United States that doesn't care too much about college football. And the opposing stakes are set up super clearly as well. An older man's lifelong legacy and career versus hundreds of young men's health, well-being, and bodies. The pacing is excellent, and the cinematography and the lighting are gorgeous. Hollywood has a long history of not lighting black and brown bodies correctly, but Khalid Motaseb kills it. The juxtaposition of the fights and conversations that these people are having, interspersed with the framing device of these ongoing news reports. It's just, it's so good! And choosing to end the trailer with a full 20 seconds of J.K. Simmons and Stephen James hyping up their respective causes, it makes a girl swoon. Oh, title. The title is excellent. It fully expects you to roll your eyes and go, yes, a sports film. But, a champion is not just someone who wins in a fight. A champion is someone who fights for a specific cause. And this fight is at a national scale. It's so good. And honestly, it kind of makes me want to cry. 5 out of 5 paychecks.
We need you.
The world will never accept someone like me and a tall, beautiful woman.
If they can't understand you, then they're not listening.
Glory is at hand.
God is with us. He says there is nothing to lose.
Glory is yours.
This is our best chance to find a habitable planet. We breed and raise our own crew. 3. Train them in isolation to prepare them for life in space. 2. The voyage will take 86 years. 1.
I'm scared.
Of what? There's nothing to be scared of.
You are the link between past and future generations, and have been entrusted with the survival of our species.
They're normal kids. Sensitive and smart. I need to protect them.
There's a toxin in the water. It's coming from us. We're eating something toxic. It's the blue. It's medication. Blue. To decrease pleasure. Blue. I'm not drinking it.
What does it feel like to feel something?
You're not feeling what I'm feeling.
What's going on?
You're drugging us.
To prevent exactly this kind of thing from happening.
System restarting. We won't ever see the planet.
I want to be honest with him. About everything.
He can't protect you.
Protect us from what?
I'm scared.
There's nothing to be scared of.
It's all
in
your
head. How do you sell people on a high concept sci-fi? You start small. You start simple. You need to make every second count to set up your scenario and characters. Voyagers does that in spades. The very first second of this trailer, you're confronted with an image of artificial insemination. Within 25 seconds, we know that this is about children being engineered by science for a project being led by Colin Farrell, and that they're being sent to space in the hopes of finding a new habitable planet. Take note from this trailer. The premise doesn't have to make perfect sense. One of my favorite sci-fi films is Danny Boyle's Sunshine. The premise is that the sun is dying, and a bunch of people go up in a spaceship to launch a nuke into the sun to ignite it again? Does this concept hold up to anything more than elementary school understanding of how science works? No. But however silly the concept is, it's one that's easy to explain, and sets up life-threatening stakes that adds tons of subtext to whatever conflict comes up next. Stylistically, this seems like a return to form for director Neil Burger after his 2011 film, Limitless. In that film, Burger does an incredible job visualizing the experience of a performance-enhancing superdrug with some really cool cinematic tricks. In this trailer, he does a fantastic job conveying the feeling of hormones rushing through your body. Sexual attraction, masculinity, femininity. He does this in a way that never feels like we're a creepy voyeur for watching. Setting up the stakes, we learn that their very human potential is being limited. A few boys opt out of the Kool-Aid, and it's off to the races we go. It balances action and sizzle with time to breathe that fits so perfectly with the score, it gives me chills. When you're grooving along to the title card at the end of the trailer, you know they probably struck on some gold. 5 out of 5 millionaire-shaped rockets.
Need you.
The world will never accept someone like me.
If they can't understand you when they're not listening.
Glory is yours.
What's going on? They're drugging us.
It's really great to like support females, particularly female entrepreneurs.
Cool.
In the future.
Great. Awesome.
Danielle! Danielle!
Please, Sonia.
Maura's here and her daughter Stephanie.
Jessica.
Whatever. You should really talk to her, you know?
No.
It's just a job.
Darling. Hi, Mom. I'm so sorry for your loss.
No funny business with Maya.
Thank you. You think everyone that's bi is experimenting. You have zero gaydar.
Excuse me, kid. I lived through New York in the 80s. My gaydar is strong as a bull.
You can't just like show up to like the after party for a Shiva and like reap the benefits of the buffet.
She lost so much weight.
Yeah.
You think she has an eating disorder?
I was trying to major again.
Sweetheart, feminism isn't exactly what I call a career.
It's not my
you know?
career, it's a lens.
Max worked for your father years ago.
Really?
Just try to behave yourself today.
I'm not gonna blow him in the bathroom. Why do you keep looking over there?
Hi, I'm Kim Beckett.
I don't think she's pretty. Malibu Barbie is not pretty. I mean, she's just like basic.
You are such a good kid.
Danielle! Look at this. Oh my God.
Are you on drugs? No, just kidding. Is she okay?
I already have a plan and a path, so.
So you just study and don't eat and go out with your beautiful friends. Is that it? Is that your life?
Yeah. Yes, that's my life.
Wow, lucky you.
Mom. Who died?
Shiva Baby is an expansion of the 2018 short film by the same name, with the same production crew and, thankfully, the same lead actor. Not everyone is Jewish, but everyone has been shoved into an extremely tense and uncomfortable, physically close situation with family and friends. If you are unfamiliar with the concept and practice of Shiva, Shiva is the 7 sunset mourning period after the burial of a Jewish person and only practiced by immediate family. You stay home, you don't leave the house, you cover mirrors, you don't wash your hair. It's like quarantine, but with an extra dose of family drama because everyone you've ever known comes over. It is, as a general concept, a really beautiful thing that allows the family of the deceased to mourn, to be taken care of by their community, and to hide under the covers. Plus, it's not compatible with capitalism, which is pretty fantastic if you ask me. On to the trailer. This is one of the first trailers where I looked over at Nick and said, now this is pod racing. This is art. This is what every trailer has the potential to be. The scoring of plucked strings over nothing but really tight, crisp audio and Foley work absolutely brings you that claustrophobic, tense sensation that the trailer is trying to convey. You have tight shots focused almost entirely between the shoulders and the top of people's heads. You can feel the pressure, and the pacing is perfection. The moments you do have to breathe, which are packed with dialogue, are fraught with dramatic implication. The story we're presented with is both unique and universally timeless. You have to go to a Shiva, which is not only filled with a weight of familial expectation, but surprise, your ex-girlfriend is there, and so is your married boyfriend, with his wife, who is surprisingly very hot. The cinematography is fantastic. Screaming child followed by angrily eating pieces of bread. A pandemic mood. The acting is excellent, and somehow in a 2-minute trailer, we get fantastic performances from all members of our principal cast. Truly, I feel like I haven't talked about this trailer as much as some others because I feel like whenever I watch it, I just have exclamation points all over my head and I'm just internally screaming because that's how good it is. 5 out of 5 halalos.
We need you.
The world will never accept someone like me.
If they can't understand you, then they're not listening.
Glory is yours.
They're drugging us. Just try to behave yourself today.
I'm not gonna blow me in the bathroom.
You are here now. You are here now. You are here now. Here now.
Your breathing is stressing me out.
This will affect the entire planet.
I know, but it's like so stressful.
Can I get that one more ice water?
I'll get 2 more glasses of white wine. And I don't need the judgy face. There's a comet headed directly towards Earth.
Do you know how many the world is ending meetings we've had over the last 2 years?
Drought, famine, hole in the ozone is so boring.
We already did a full episode on this one, but there's a big reason it's in our top 5. This trailer sparked a phenomenon that only happens every few years or so. What absolute brilliance this film came out last year. To make a big budget action film about the thing that took over our minds and bodies for the last few years without actually talking about it at all. After watching 2018's Vice, I was a little bit worried that Adam McKay's witty, politically charged writing would continue to be overshadowed by his previous critical darling, The Big Short. However, it was clear from this trailer that Don't Look Up was something different. There's immediacy to this film. There's a tension that underneath this farcical comedy lies a metaphor that perfectly sums up the sheer amount of idiocy that we've been experiencing on a day-to-day basis for 2 years now. Not only that, but the implication that we're ready to face a calamity even worse than the one that we are currently living in, that we wouldn't have done any better. I mean, I guess we knew that already. The trailer was perfect for generating discourse. It does an excellent job of saying very little about the plot, using dialogue clips to sell the humor and the state of exasperation of our main characters. Meanwhile, the B-roll continues to get crazier and crazier until you see Ariana Grande and Ron Perlman in a rocket surrounded by missiles until you're yelling at the screen, "What is this movie?" It's good. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And has a great zinger at the end that lets you laugh into the title screen. Why do we have so many trailers for films? We don't need a story trailer and a character trailer and a sneak peek. Those trailers are marketing. This trailer is science. Or art. It's one of those. 5 out of 5 more glasses of white wine.
Need you.
The world will never accept someone like me.
If they can't understand you, then they're not listening.
Glory is yours.
They're drugging us.
You're not gonna blow him in the bathroom.
This will affect the entire planet. I know, but it's like so stressful.
Mrs. Wang. Mrs. Wang.
Mrs. Wang, are you with us?
I am paying attention.
Now, you may only see a pile of receipts, but I see a story. I can see where this story is going. It does not look good.
What's happening? Evelyn, I'm not your husband. I'm another version of him from another universe. I'm here because we need your help. Very busy today. No time to help you. Across the multiverse, I've seen thousands of Evelyns. You can access all their memories, their emotions, even their skills. There's a great evil spreading throughout the many verses. And you may be your only chance of stopping it. Don't make me fight you. I am really good.
I don't believe you.
Wow, that was really good.
He's waiting in the wings.
The universe
He speaks of senseless things.
is so much bigger
Script is you and me.
than you realize.
Of all the places I could be, I just want to be here with you. Remember our mission. Consider the fate of every single world of our infinite multiverse. There is no way I am the Evelyn you are looking for. Every rejection, every disappointment has led you here. To this moment. Don't let anything distract you from it.
Number 1.
Everything, everywhere.
All at once. Just wow. These are the kind of trailers we wait for. Funny, artistic, elaborate, wild in its design, yet easy to understand. Around every corner of this trailer is something new and unexpected, but I never feel like we're learning too much. Far too often we're faced with trailers that rely on jokes and reveals to sell what is a relatively bland film. And that is absolutely not the case here.
This film is brought to you by Daniels. Dan Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, who rocketed to the film world's attention after their succession of immaculately produced, hyper-creative music videos, including The Shins' Simple Song, Tenacious D's Rise of the Phoenix, Joywave's Tongues, and DJ Snake and Little John's Turn Down for What? Each of these videos more absurd and insane than the last. This fame culminated in 2016 when they released their first feature film starring Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe. Radcliffe playing a farting corpse. No, it's a really good movie. Daniels followed up their success in 2019 with a film that was smaller in scope, The Death of Dick Long, which has another excellent trailer I'll link down here. But now, in 2022, we're getting another bombastic creation with Everything Everywhere all at once. Aside from their delightful usage of practical effects, this reminds me a lot of Boots Riley's 2018 film, Sorry to Bother You, with Lakeith Stanfield. Both films feature the life of a disenfranchised person of color trying to make ends meet. Along the way, finding purpose and success through the advent of magical happenstance that connects them to a greater, but perhaps more insidious calling. They both embrace their magical realist aesthetic with a series of visual gags that mix CGI, traditional rigging, and cinematic tricks that leave you holding on to your seat as the film whips you through a series of unexpected turns and twists that leave you at the mercy of the director's unlimited imagination. I have been waiting for any crumb of information about Boots' next film, but until that happens, this will absolutely fit the bill.
Let's talk a little bit about Michelle Yeoh, shall we? How freaking amazing is it to have a film this adventurous, inventive, magical, and action-packed with a star from a demographic that is rarely featured, particularly when hate crimes against Asians are higher than ever, especially Asian elders. Co-star Stephanie Hsu said in an interview, actually regarding her appearance in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, "It's a confusing time to be Asian. Each success arrives alongside a heartbreak and oftentimes even anger. The joy of seeing truly outstanding Asian-led projects in the spotlight is diffused by headlines and footage of unabashed violence against Asian bodies. Everything Everywhere All at Once is a love letter to the multitudes contained within all of us. Yes, but especially those multitudes suppressed by the monolithic othering that is caused by white supremacy."
One of the other cool reasons for seeing Michelle Yeoh in a role like this is that she has been an incredible force in the industry for going on 40 years now. Former Miss Malaysia at age 20, she made it big kicking ass in Hong Kong martial arts films, and was recognized by the West after appearing in Tomorrow Never Dies with Pierce Brosnan, where she apparently seriously impressed the crew after insisting on performing all of her own stunts, much to the chagrin of the producers. She then went on to star in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in 2000 and Memoirs of a Geisha in 2005. Michelle Yeoh had solidified her star power, but still couldn't manage to break through to other types of roles that weren't about women who know Kung Fu. That being said, she is wonderful in Sunshine, Crazy Rich Asians, and Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And look at all these projects she has coming up. Hey, look, she's in Minions too. She can ask Dolph Lundgren what the hell's going on with him. Overall, it's just great to see her in a role that isn't just a Netflix special Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon reboot.
If I was to give this trailer a thesis, or even describe it to a friend, I would probably say it shows everything while saying nothing. The cinematography and the edit work together beautifully to express the simultaneity at the heart of this film. Considering it's an A24 film, we can rest assured that, at minimum, it's going to be the film that every freshman film major across America is going to reference to try and one-up you over a can of Rainier. The cast is stacked. Of course, there is Empress Yeoh, who you should know very well by now, but we also get to see a shining spotlight on Stephanie Hsu. From The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel to Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, she's been getting role after role after role following her iconic turn as Mrs. Karen Plankton in the Broadway musical version of SpongeBob. And of course, in the iconic off-Broadway musical Be More Chill. We also see the triumphant return to the screen of Ke Kwan, who many people might know as Jonathan Ke Kwan. That's right, he played Short Round in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, but left acting in 2002, citing few opportunities and roles for Asian American actors. Seeing Crazy Rich Asians brought him back into the acting business, and we are so excited to have him on screen once more. Speaking of opportunities for Asian American actors, this film also stars James Hong. And if you don't know him by name, I'm sure you know him by sight or by the sound of his voice. He is one of the most prolific English-speaking actors in the world. If you're a 90s kid or an 80s kid, you might know him as the voice of Chi Fu in Mulan, Mr. Ping in Kung Fu Panda, or any and all of these voices in Avatar: The Last Airbender. He's been an iconic part of the industry landscape for decades, but perhaps his greatest contribution was co-founding East West Players. the first Asian American theater and the longest running theater of color in the United States. In fact, East West Players was founded specifically to create more opportunities for Asian American actors. Also featured in the cast are Harry Shum Jr. from Glee and Crazy Rich Asians, Jenny Slate, who you'll recognize from SNL and Parks and Rec, and of course, Jamie Lee Curtis. So much of what makes this trailer good is the use of simultaneity in its shot composition, linking the worlds of the multiverses together. And the juxtaposition of the mundane with the magical defies our expectations at every turn.
The trailer can be divided into sections. The first 30 seconds introduce a grounded real world, only for that world to be pulled out from under you. We spend the next minute exploring the concept of the multiverse and the many Evelyns, and then David Bowie's song Time whisks us through the remaining minute of footage, peppering in more crazy multiverse shots and perfectly timed fight sound effects, and then tying that emotional core into
Of all the places I could be, I just want to be here with you.
It ends with a shot finally giving us a clue of the googly eye motif, flashing through Evelyn's many lives and bringing us to titles. It's a really satisfying and well-rounded way to finish off the trailer. No last-minute clip or witty line. This trailer was perfectly cut to check all the boxes, and it knows when it's done. 5 out of 5 googly eyes.
Well, that wraps up our inaugural Trailer Park Award. Thank you for joining us, and if you like this kind of content where we dive deep into what sets a piece of commercial art above its peers, go ahead and hit that like button.
Then go on and hit subscribe, because we have a whole mess of opinions coming up here in 2022. It's already April. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick.
And I'm AC, and we'll see you next time.